everybody, this is Nubu Girl. We are back with another Dream Home episode. I'm actually super excited about this one. Me and my hubs have talked about this one quite a bit. And we're not working from a blueprint this time. This time it is from, it's actually from a magazine article that we saw, and we loved it, and we thought it was really unique and neat. And we've tossed it around a few times, and we went and talked to some people about what it would take to basically build or manufacture this type of home. And it's actually not as complicated as you would think. And it's actually relatively cost efficient or cost effective. And the photo is a little bit smaller than what we're going to go for, because we actually talked to them about whether we had to go with that size or whether we could make it a little bit bigger, and what our parameters were. And they're like, yeah, you can make it longer. We can't really make them wider, but we can make them longer, or at least not too much wider. They gave us the parameters and how wide they could be, and that's what we based this off of. They said they could basically fit, I think it's like a 12 by 12 bedroom, and with a hallway included, and a decent sized kitchen. And they kind of sketched out some ideas for us, and we talked about it. But so this is kind of me bringing to life the sketches and ideas we talked about with the people that can make this happen. And basically it's taking two, they're calling them cabins, mother-in-law suites. They also refer to them as mother-in-law suites, and pushing them to on either side of what is a structured interior, kind of like a outdoor eating structure, and that's where you would actually eat. There would be a dining table out there, and basically just whatever we want, but it would be outside, but it would be inside of glass. And they said some people leave it with open eaves to where the air can blow through. Some people close it off. I guess it would also depend on where we end up getting our land at if we decide to go with this route. But also mimicking it exactly in Sims is a little complicated. It definitely, this part specifically gave me a little bit of a challenge. You'll see me kind of fiddle with things, move things, change things. It ends up looking really good by the time I'm done with it, but it is a matter of getting it the way I want it. I do know that I wanted the bars there, because what's going to happen is that there are going to be support bars that hold up the glass roofing and hold together the glass walls, basically. And it is also a glass roof, so that gives us the ability to have a nice sunshiny area to eat, or eat by moonlight, or even put some nice lights out there. And I've had several ideas what kind of lights we could put out there to kind of just give it a mood. Also, it opens up this availability for us to have a basically like a greenhouse effect, like an indoor garden. Basically a safe location for us to grow herbs, and smaller plants, maybe even some lettuce, kale, stuff like that, kind of on the interior, maybe even tomatoes, I'm not sure. So it gives us the ability to grow smaller plants, as well as salvage plants, like when it starts to get wintertime, especially if we decide to stay in Georgia or decide to stay in the South. During the winter, the winter doesn't last a super long time, but it can be harsh for short bursts of time, and that would allow us to have basically plants inside that gardening area where we can kind of keep it slightly warmer, and basically rescue the plants or save the plants, or maybe do some seeding inside there. I'm not sure. There's so many ideas and thoughts of what we could do in that little area. But I love it. I love this idea, and this is probably one of our top 3 choices that we've seen so far. As this came together, Hubs came in and was watching me build it, and he's like, wow, this actually is coming together quite nicely. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I like this vision. He's like, I can't wait to see your finished product. So he's probably going to be the first one to watch this video when I put it up. Biggest fan. Hashtag biggest fan. But yeah, it's really cute, and so it feels very I don't know, tiny home, modern living. Like, it kind of gives that naturalistic, no wasted space feel, because we're literally using every part of the house to live in and use as a production space. So it's really, really cool in that fashion. I love these windows, by the way, from Country Living. Those windows are probably some of my favorite windows. And just breaking this down by, space, the only, I guess, crux to this entire thing is that bathroom that I'm going to put in here has to be shared by both us and anybody going into the living room. Bonus, the kids would probably use theirs on their side of the house. But downside is if we have guests or whatever, they're going to be definitely using our master bath. So, that is, a small downside to it. But at the end of the day, it's okay. They also said putting in basically a shower bath type situation, both of them would be a little complicated, that it would be better to have a combo like that one there, which I guess is the only downside to this build that I've seen so far, is that we can't have our separate shower and my soaking tub situation. But on the flip side, because the cost of this location would be so cost efficient in comparison to the other places we've looked at so far, we would be able to get a hot tub. We'd be able to afford one. And I wouldn't need my bathtub anymore because I'd have a hot tub to soak in. So, sacrifices can be made. This is just me trying to figure out the placement of the door, because they told me it would have to be shared by the living space as well as the master when we were looking at the plans, that there'd be no way to put a secondary bathroom. There just wouldn't be room or space. It would be too cramped. Because we have a large family, and when they come to visit, I don't want them to feel cramped in the living room, so I'd rather have a little more of a spacious living room and a little more of a spacious kitchen, since those are the two places we do hang out as a family, the kitchen and the dining room. And I would imagine we'd hang out quite a bit in that day area, but only during the warmer periods of time, which, granted, in the South, are not that few and far between. We don't have long periods of cold. We do have cold snaps, and they do happen kind of for hard but very short bursts. So we would have to have an interior location to hang out if we decide to do family gatherings during a cold period. So so this place was a lot of fun to put together, a lot of fun to build. It really brought the imagination to the table as far as what we wanted and what we could possibly aspire to have. And instead of having to have traditional doors everywhere, we could have those glass doors, which gives it just the larger feeling when you're coming into the house. It makes it feel a little bit bigger when it's not all closed off. You guys will notice I tend to like this blue a lot, so I think I've decided that when we do get our place, that we'll probably end up painting our living room like this dark, beautiful blue. I really like that blue a lot. And so we are still going to be able to have a walk-in closet. They said that we could add the room, but it would require me to sacrifice some of the office space that I wanted. I don't need a huge office. I just need a private office. I need it to be big enough for my desk and filing cabinet and my box lights, basically. As long as I have enough room for those things, I'm good. So I was like, yes, sacrifice the office. I don't need the office to be the same size as the master. We're good. So as everything's getting built here, it's looking fabulous. I'm loving it so much. I'm hoping you guys are liking it too. What are you guys thinking of the series so far? We think that our next in the series that we're going to bring to it is going to be more pictures of places we've looked at. If I can get a tour of the place, I'll take indoor pictures too. If not, I will just go off of memory from walking through it or seeing it outside, and maybe pulling up some pics on Zillow or something when we're looking at the houses and try to do some real life rendering instead of just blueprints. So look for those changes as we go along. It's going to be super interesting. And I always like, if you haven't noticed, we really go for a lot of wood, natural wood flooring and tile in our house. We have dogs. We have 4 dogs, and I have a cat, and we have kids. And I've just never thought that carpet was super practical when it came to the family because everybody makes a mess, everybody spills, and I'd rather not fuss over the small stuff and worry about messes on the floor. I'd rather just clean them up quickly and move on with my day, especially since I have my new shark vac, which is like the greatest thing ever invented, because that thing vacuums up wet spills. So if you ever watch your Sims, especially if you have like a butler in the Sims, you'll laugh. At least I laugh, because the butler sits there and goes at all the puddles with the vacuum cleaner, and you giggle at it until you get a wet vac cleaner. Like, now I'm not talking about like a steam cleaner. I'm talking about like a vacuum cleaner that vacuums up wetness. It's crazy to think that it does this, but it does. It 100% does. So yeah, now that I have one, I'm like, oh, I never have to go back to carpet again, because now I can just whip this puppy out and clean the floors easy peasy. So yeah, and a huge shout out to my daughter who had that originally and showed it to me, and I was like, I need this in my life. Cabinet space is a huge thing for me in the kitchen. I have quite a few gadgets. I cook a lot. I bake a lot. The kitchen is like the central location in our entire house. That is where we spend, I would say, 80% of our time. Maybe 70%. Okay, let's be more accurate. 70% of the time. The rest of it is spent in the living room hanging out. Or going outside and gardening and, just doing family things outside. But the kitchen is probably the place we all gather as a family. When I'm talking about like when we're doing stuff together, the kitchen is a huge thing that has to be roomy, spacey, have enough place for people to stand around and talk and hang out. Doesn't necessarily have to have a kitchen table. It just has to have a little, maybe like, I love the bar island idea, because that way if someone's hanging out with me in the kitchen, usually it's my sister or my daughters, or sometimes one of my sons will sit in there with me in the kitchen and either help in the kitchen, or they'll sit and talk to me while I'm doing stuff in the kitchen, because I am one of those people that kind of just hovers in the kitchen, and I like to do things. I like to keep my hands busy. Just part of having, ADHD, you tend to keep your hands busy. So I like to cook. Cooking is kind of like my happy place. I've had people ask me, well, why don't you just cook for a living? Why don't you become a chef? And I'm like, this is where I go to get away from real life. I really don't want to make it a career. I think it would stress me out too much to try to make it a career. So I'm just going to stick to what I'm doing, stick into my gaming, stick into my streaming, and, my contract work that I do that I enjoy doing, while entertaining you people. I love making kitchens. It's probably one of my favorite things to do in The Sims, because it's my favorite room. I think this is my only pet peeve with The Sims. I really wish we could get wallpapers that matched other wallpapers that would look like a backsplash instead of going all the way to the top. I wish we could kind of have like just a short tiled, like down the strip middle wallpaper, multiple kinds, not just one or two kinds, but multiple kinds, so I could just use it as a backsplash, versus it going all the way to the tippy top. I also wish we would have like a backsplash with the white trim that we have on the other painted walls, so that I could have a matching trim around the house. But that's just a little I wish. I understand that my taste is not everybody's taste, so I don't worry about it, but it would be nice. It'd be kind of neat. Yeah, so just kind of decorating, painting up the house. You'll see it go a little bit faster as we go through half of this stuff. You guys have seen my kids' rooms enough to know kind of what they like in there. Has to have a bed, has to have a desk, because my kids are computer geeks just like I am. That would be my office. I'm doing a white with a green screen in the back because I use a green screen and I find it easier just to have a permanent green screen. And I went with white. That way it would feel spacier because it's not going to be a very big room. And I wanted to give myself optimum sensation of being bigger than it actually is. And if possible, I'm not sure I'm going to have enough room for a craft table, but I would like to have a craft table. If not, I'm not stressing over it. I'll probably just move it out there into the open air dining area if I don't have enough room for a craft table. If these dreams don't come true that I'm kind of envisioning. Like I said, I kind of had to go off a sketch and off of discussions. They said there would be room for 2 12 by 12 bedrooms, and so that's why I thought the office and the master would be roughly that size, because they also said they would each come with a closet. So it's kind of what I did here. I gave it the 12 by 12 roughly Sims version of 12 by 12 and the closets. So I kind of hope that works out as far as my envisioning goes. Kind of excited for this whole journey that we're going through. I can't wait to actually put together the next house, because we actually just looked at a place that I'm excited to show you guys. So that will be out next week. I'm trying to, now that I have my own office and things have quieted down, and life has gotten more or less back to normal for me, I'm trying to make sure I put out at least 1 video a week, if not 2, from each series. Let's say 1 from each series, 2 videos a week. That's my goal, I guess I should say. But I also put out shorts on YouTube, so if I have a few shorts, then I might not put a video out that week. I don't know, I'm just kind of playing around with how I feel about doing stuff, because I don't want to sit all day long and do editing. And we're about to hit gardening season 2, and my seedlings are sprouting really well. I've got 3-inch plants now ready to go in the ground, so I'll be spending more time in the garden as well. I love that centerpiece for tables, and I figured greenery out here would be really nice, because if we're gonna sit out here and relax as we probably will. We've already discussed having a couple rocking chairs in here and just sitting with our coffee, especially in the morning, and watching the sunrise. I want to try to make sure that when we do, if we decide to get this place, I want to make sure that one of the glass walls, regardless of which one, faces where the sun rises in the morning, so that we can watch the sunrise and we can watch the sunset. So basically, I want it to face east to west, so we can sit and just kind of relax and watch the sun as it comes and goes. It's nothing like a good sunset. You guys will also notice that I put this house in Hinford on Bagley, which I kind of was wondering why I hadn't done it before, since we are looking at land in the country, in a very country setting. I was like, I don't know why I did this to myself. I should have just stuck myself in the country a long time ago, because it would have just made a lot of my builds, a lot of my stuff a lot more accurate. Of course, we also know that I started this series before this expansion came out. So, yep, and I have a hutch that I plan on putting dishes in, and I'm excited about that. And I was like, oh wait, I forgot, we need a laundry room. You cannot have a house, or at least we can't have a house without a laundry room. And I refuse to have my washer and dryer on the porch. I just don't want it. So we've been looking at this set that could either be side by side or it could be stacked. And they look a lot like this, actually. And I was like, I'm just going to put them stacked, and then I'm going to put one little shelf on the other side for storage of whatever goods we need. And it's just going to be a little bitty, basically laundry room. And you can get them that small, by the way. It's just, they are tight, so you got to do all your work basically outside of the laundry room. But, I mean, I don't spend time in the washer room anyway. I literally just go in there, do my stuff, and get out. So I put some shelves in there as well, so that if we needed to add like cleaners or dog treats or supplies, steamer supplies or whatever in there. It's also a great place for us to store any chemical goods because, little hands can get a hold of that kind of stuff. So we could always just keep that room door locked or, keep things up high on the shelves, which is, for me, great. This rug, I like it, but I always wish it was just a little bit more colorful. Like I said, storage in the kitchen is a big must for me. I love that specific item from Tiny Living, the one with the little coffee pot and the mitt and stuff hanging off of it, because it screams me in a huge way. Those of you who know me pretty well know that that is so my style. We have a bread box. I haven't been able to use it in the house we're living in currently, but I definitely want to have one in my new place. I do also have a Dutch oven that is blue, so I decided to put it in there. I also made sure that we had stuff for the doggos because we're planning on feeding them. If we get this place, we would plan on feeding them out there, so that way less mess in the house. Except for maybe for my old man, he's probably going to stay eating in my room because he's getting on in age and he doesn't like people around him when he eats his food, so it's usually just safer for everybody involved if he just kind of stays in my room with me when he eats. He gets less cranky, less defensive. Of course, like I've mentioned a few times, gardening is huge with us. We like growing our own vegetables, our own, especially our own tomatoes. It's like a huge thing for us. We also grow a lot of types of peppers, sweet peppers, spicy peppers, bell peppers. I love the bell peppers because then we just get all kinds of fresh goodness. I also wanted to make more garden space, and I also want to be self-sufficient. Like I've mentioned, I think I mentioned in the last video, we're gonna have solar panels on our roofing, at least 4 to 6 of them, just because we want to be able to not necessarily live off the grid, but be able to be more self-sustained, so we're not counting on power from the power company at all times. It's kind of like use our reserve first, or keep a reserve for when the power goes out or when the storms are coming really bad, or also it's just really nice to not have to pay full price for power. So yeah, so definitely solar panels are great. If we can move to an area where we can rely completely on solar panels, then I don't know if I would, but I would contemplate it for sure. I didn't put a water catcher, but we are going to have a water catcher source. It would be used for gardening, but when you use a lot of water for gardening, it actually comes in pretty handy. You find that using recycled water or water that's caught from the rain, especially in a place like down here where it rains a lot, water catchers are great. Yeah, just kind of walking through everything. We would have a well a well and a septic if we moved out into the country. I slowed things down a little bit because I realized it was going a little on the fast side. But yeah, so super fun out here. I absolutely love this place. I hope you guys really like this build. I had a lot of fun making it. If you guys have suggestions or thoughts on things we should do different or things we should change, let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your comments. So definitely let me know what you guys think. I'm super excited about this build. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I would change anything about it, to be honest with you. But if you guys see something you would change, let me know. Like, I take your comments to heart. You can also message me in Discord, and we can talk about it there. I've had a few people come to me in Discord and ask questions and say stuff to me. So, yay! Hope you guys liked it. I loved it. All of my socials, Discord, and all that information, you can find that down below. So I will hopefully hear from you guys soon. Talk to you guys in the next one. Bye! I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for coming. Ring that bell. All those really cool YouTube things. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.